holiday season. Merry Christmas, everybody, and welcome to the show. We're still taking 2019 in retrospect, and we're looking at all the important things that happened this year in the political space in the country, and especially the important conversations that we had on the Morning Crossfire throughout the year. Today, we're reminding you of the big election conversations that we had in February. I can't forget that February because, I mean, it was extensive. We were here for days before the election, during the election, after the election, until the results came in. Nigeria Info got you covered all through with videos, with live audio, with our correspondents on the field. And we're talking about how far we've come with our elections in Nigeria in the next 1 hour. We're live on Facebook. You can watch us now. You can also see us on YouTube. If you want to join us on Twitter, it's at Nigeria Info FM. I'm Wemimo Adewuni. Welcome.
And I am Sheriff Quadry. We would like to wish you compliments of the season if you are preparing for Christmas. So we have something not too heavy for you tomorrow. Let's chip that in. So we have something very light for tomorrow because, I mean, it's Christmas after all.
That's the part where you play Kim Something Live. No, that's tomorrow, by the way. Not today. That's tomorrow.
All right. So in the meantime, today we are going back in time. Not far back, though. In 2019, elections were held in Nigeria. General election, off-cycle elections held in Nigeria. A lot of things characterized these elections. What are the rankings of INEC before, during, and after these elections? The input of course, political actors as well. What part did they play? Did they play their part well? What is wrong with our electoral system? What have we learned from what transpired during all the elections that we had in 2011? Electronic voting, is it high time we started to take it more seriously? Should we dump it? What countries do you think are actually using electronic voting? Is that the way to go for Nigeria? And of course, lawmaking when it comes to electoral amendment bill that is supposed to be signed by the president. He is yet to sign this bill. How far did this affect the 2019 elections? How deep did it affect the 2019 elections? Or maybe it didn't affect it at all. Could it have made the 2019 election far better than what we had, in February? And in Kogi and Bayelsa, what are the roles of security agencies in all these elections as well? Plenty questions that you have, we have, and we all will try. Come together this morning to try and, because elections are coming in 2023, we must not remain in this same position in 2023.
But I think that we will. I think very strongly
we
that
must
we will.
not.
Well, I think that we will. Well, in February, if you remember, the date was first fixed for February 16th, and then there was a rescheduling of the election. If you remember vividly, the rescheduling was done the night before the election,
right,
when you all had traveled to your state to go vote. And ta-da, we just heard in the midnight that there would no longer be elections on the 16th, but would be done the following weekend, which was the 23rd. And I remember the uproar that went on then. I've traveled, I've spent so much money, I've left my work.
Right.
And because of that, I think that many people did not vote on the 23rd because they couldn't afford to go back, neither could they afford to stay back where they were. So if you remember how we were told, it was in the midnight when suddenly we were told that there was some things were not ready, technicalities. Actually, some materials had not been fully moved. Before the elections we also got reports of some card readers that were burned, over 3,000 of them, but they were speedily replaced. We also had reports during the coverage because it was the presidential and the governorship elections in February. And here in Lagos State, we got reports from people who called in about some areas where, according to the reports, some ethnic groups were being asked not to vote. But we also had people who called in to say it wasn't true that they were allowed to vote where they are. So we're reminding you of these highlights. And then it took days for the results to come in. And we were here just counting down and ticking our fingers because the results were coming in
because
from all the local government. And
we had to wait.
We had to wait. Now, there was that last-minute election delay I mean,
changed everything. As a matter of fact.
Totally changed everything. The rallies before the election, the reports of 4 people dead at a stampede that happened during the pro-Buhari election rally. The US and the UK also gave Nigeria stern warnings then that there will be no visas granted to instigators of violence during the Nigerian elections. Also, there were talks about. Remember, some of the candidates also withdrew before the elections. But then, let's kickstart and ask you, what is your highlight from the general election this year? Can you remember how it played out? What was an important point? What was it? Did you vote?
Did you take part in the election process?
That's a big question.
Yeah, and there was also one big phenomenon that was quite, I don't know how to say it, but it was just everywhere in the news, not apparent, but it was big. It's called voter suppression. It was witnessed in some strongholds of some political parties. And how it played out, really, was just to make sure that votes don't count at some specific polling units and polling centers in the state. It was tagged voter suppression then from the Situation Room of a coalition of CSOs that were monitoring that election. So a lot happened in 2019.
Yes.
With
elections. Remember also that the president gave this also formed a crucial part of our conversation then.
Right.
But the president said he had given orders to the military and law enforcement officers to be ruthless, very ruthless with those involved in election fraud. This was after the postponement. Let me quote him. He said, "I really gave the military and police orders to be ruthless. I want Nigerians to be respected. Let them vote whoever they want across the parties." He spoke at an emergency meeting that was called by his party then. And he said he is warning everyone who thinks he has enough influence in his locality to lead a body of thugs to snatch ballot boxes or disrupt. Says the person would do so at the expense of his own life. We had a big conversation about this and asked you, do you think that it should be a life or death matter with ballot box snatching or electoral violence? Some people said, yes, of course, if you want to snatch ballots, you're doing that most likely with arms.
Right.
And so you'll be combated also with arms. But human rights activists also will say you can't kill someone for electoral violence or electoral fraud.
Yeah.
You arrest them and then you charge them to court.
You prosecute them, absolutely. And that's my point. Now, the other angle to all of this is we've not done the right thing to discourage people from thinking that once they get the ballot box, then they have impacted on the election, on the process negatively. We have to try as much as possible to reduce the emphasis on ballot box snatching, not by arrest even. We need to simplify the process to the point that people will see that there is no point trying to snatch ballot boxes. They will see no reason for them to go and snatch back because it won't affect the vote. It won't affect the process in any way. That is the line I think we should start towing because it's the way to go. When people find a loophole in the process, that's when they take advantage of the process. But if there are no loopholes in the process, nobody will be motivated that much to want to go and snatch ballot box.
We should stop using ballot boxes. That's the thing. Let there be nothing to snatch. Go electronic. And I remember during our coverage then, Tuji Andrews gave us a brilliant idea because we were talking about electoral voting, electronic voting and how it could work. Could it work? Because some parts of Nigeria, there isn't electricity. Not all Nigerians are on the internet. But
right.
we saw that about 150 million Nigerians already have phones. So there was an idea about using USSD code. And in areas where there's no light, or maybe in some areas you have tables where people can come do their voting. In fact, we talked about the card reader, and I remember we were asking, why can't this card reader, which can read your voter card and know that it's you, why can't you also vote right there? I mean, if the card reader accreditates you immediately,
right,
why can't you just open another page where you just vote and go?
I heard the argument at the time, but what experts have said that when you vote, your vote is going on to a server, and we don't have the proficiency yet to beat our chest and say that we can protect our servers.
Why can't we protect our
Oh,
servers?
well, that's what experts say.
No,
that
that's
we don't,
not
we
what
don't have that kind of proficiency
No,
yet.
we've had Stephen Lawal here,
Right.
and he's a cybersecurity expert. And I know that we have, if we really want to do it, we have a number of cybersecurity experts in Nigeria. Fantastic guys. I know a number of them.
Right.
If we want them, the companies use servers.
Right.
Your mobile networks use servers. Facebook, Twitter, they use servers.
Right.
And if something is now, Twitter some days ago, for instance, gave me an alert and asked me to update because there was they suspected there might be a breach. So there's a
Right.
way to do these things if we want to do it.
I don't know really, because I'm not an expert in this field.
Yeah, I
but
know.
what I do know is cybersecurity is one of the most expensive security apparatus that we've got in the world today. It is not easy.
It is nobody said
banks,
it's easy.
Our banks will tell you how much to spend
Yes.
protecting your money.
When we compare how much we spend doing paper voting,
Right.
printing materials, shipping them over water.
Right.
Remember also that the Bayelsa and Kogi elections came that was in fire.
Right.
And we spoke to some core members who actually slept on water, traveling to those areas. So if we compare all of those with the number of lives that we lose
Right.
and the amount that we actually spend on elections, I think we can do it. Let's take your comment on how far we've gone so far, staying with the general elections that happened in February before we move on. That election was wrapped up 4 days after you all voted. INEC officially declared President Muhammadu Buhari the winner of the election with 56% of the votes.
Right.
With opposition leader
They
Atiku.
got about 15.2 million votes.
Absolutely.
Damn.
Atiku Abubakar had 41% of the vote. Of course, there was back and forth at the tribunal on this, but this was a victory.
Muhammadu Buhari of the All Progressives Congress, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected. Thank you.
There you have it. Winner, returned elected. But according to reports, Human Rights Watch documented 11 deaths that were related to the election. Also, about 626 people were killed during the 2019 election cycle, starting with the campaigns that began in 2018. Nigeria Civil Society Situation Rooms stated also that no fewer than 39 Nigerians lost their lives 48 hours before the election. And the figures were taken from Borno State, Bayelsa, Rivers, Yobe, Kogi, Ebonyi, Lagos, Oyo, Delta, Zamfara, and Taraba. In Lagos, there was disruption of voting also by suspected political thugs. Remember, in Okota, there were reports. We also had videos from there.
Yes.
Ballot box snatching. Isolo, Oshodi suburbs were also reported. In Lagos, Babajide Sanwo-Olu was declared winner.
And it was rumored
of the
that
election.
these areas are opposition strongholds, especially in Lagos. When that result was announced, the PDP rejected that announcement and threatened to take legal actions, which they did in the end. And at the time, they were saying that the ruling All Progressives Congress manipulated the votes. Let me quote Kola Ologbondiyan, the spokesman of the main opposition party, the PDP, and he said, "I am not aware of any meeting of the PDP legal team, but I know there are concerns laid to the INEC Electoral Commission chairman based on promises he made to Nigerians on the conduct of the elections." That's what the PDP spokesperson said at the time. The 2019 elections.
General elections is one that we would not forget in a hurry.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's take your comments and your contributions on the elections. Some of you have forgotten. I think the Nigerians. Okay, let me leave it. Let me not yab you guys, but we forget things. But it was quite a thing this year, and for the next 4 years, we have President Muhammadu Buhari as a president, elected and duly returned by INEC in February this year. The phone numbers are all yours.
Call us on 01-277-0993, 01-277-1993, 01-277-2993, and 01-277-3993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
This is Nigeria Info. We are listening. President Muhammadu Buhari contested at 76. His main challenger contested at 72. And this is call for, if you snatch ballot box, you might pay with your life. The PDP called it a direct call for jungle justice.
Please, before we get to your call, just turn off your radio.
Put it off.
Because we will not remind you.
Please put it off. Please put it off.
All right. Let's
you.
get on with the calls now. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good
Morning.
Yeah, this is Friday from Igwelere.
Welcome.
Yeah, see, I can still remember that election, the one that was postponed, because even early that morning, when my friend called me that the election had been postponed, I did not believe him.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I did not believe. I have to listen to. I have to turn on my radio and listen to Nigeria Info, and I got the confirmation. See, let me say this: the only positive thing about that election is that I stay at home all days. I was listening to Nigeria Info. Larry Bolariwa, our sport guy, doing some correspondent reporting.
Yes, he was on the field.
Yes,
everyone went out.
Yes. that is just only the positive thing I have about election, because it gave me enough time to listen to Nigeria Info.
Thank you, Friday.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes,
Morning.
Wemimo and Terry.
Morning.
Kenny, welcome.
Yeah, the election is not something someone can forget, so soon. Personally, I've been following elections very closely since 2011. I mean, very closely. And to be honest, this year's election was the worst. But you know what? I want us to look forward, to look towards 2023. And this is my challenge. 2023 is still 3 years plus away. And before we see politicians, aligning and planning for the elections, this is the time to make sure that every law that will give us better elections, is made and signed into law.
Right.
Not like what happened that they finished the electoral act, presented to the president, and the president said, "Oh no, it will affect the election, so I cannot sign."
Okay.
Yeah,
so
he said it was too close to the election.
Yeah, he said it was too close. So we need to and if you put all those things in place now, it becomes difficult for politicians to want to twist it. And that was the advantage of the 2015 elections, if you remember.
Right.
So the election that brought Buhari, that was 2015.
Right.
That was the advantage. We need to start working to make sure that we prepare for 2023 before 2023 comes.
Right.
Because by that time, it becomes difficult and almost impossible to change.
All right, Kenny, thanks for calling.
Thank you.
Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
This is Mr. Vincent from Papa.
Welcome.
You know what? My observation about the election, it was the same dilly-dallying of the typical Nigerian politician. If you could remember vividly, Mr. President, right from early in the year, those bills about the electoral act was sent to him about 4 times. Then on this time, he will just wait for the 30 days period to elapse before sending it back and saying one line of sentence or what. So from the other angle, it shows that he knew exactly what he was doing, and he did not want to trunk that very act. Indeed. He wanted to use the method the CP guys are using. And that is the area where we have problems. Now, although that one has passed, he has enjoyed that it has passed. Now we have to start piling pressure on those guys, even if they, Mr. President and co, even if they're meant to arrange the electoral act again or not, we have to pray because they are our servants. But in our client, it's just the opposite. So we have to. The thing is this. Let us get integrity or whatever. What we need now is selfless service.
All right.
Somebody that will come and go to that electoral act because it's just electoral act that is turning in different.
What you're saying is that we shouldn't go to bed right now and rest on our oars. Yeah. We should mount the pressure and make sure that the electoral act is passed right now. A brief update on that election in 2019. Just before the election, in the general election, President Buhari suspended the chief judge, Walter Onohe. He was heading the Supreme Court and would have ruled on any dispute over the results at then. The president's move as at then was widely criticized as a calculated attempt to gain some electoral advantage in the case of a legal challenge. That happened before the election. And after the election, Situation Room reported that 47 people were killed after that election. 47 people were killed during, before, and after that election, even though it was delayed by 1 week. Indeed.
We can't forget Onogen.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yes. Yeah, good morning.
Please put off your radio.
Hello, good morning to you.
Please, when you call us, put off your
Hello,
radio.
good
That's
morning.
the only way we can hear you. If your radio is on, we can't hear you. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. This is Nigeria FM.
Yes, it's Nigeria Info.
This is not Nigeria FM.
It's Nigeria Info. Thanks for trying, though. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Wemimo.
Yes. Morning.
Compliment of the season.
Wish you the same.
Yes, my name is Gocha. I call him from Abulegba area.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Yes, my complaint is this, and it's a big pain on my heart, It's in regards to vote violence during election. And the question is this, and there's no denying the fact that somebody, a particular political party or a candidate, do benefit from violence during election. So now, the mother that was killed, that was burned alive at Kogi's election, who benefited from that, from her being killed? Somebody must have benefited from her killing. That is the question that we Nigerians should be asking. And whoever that benefited from that something should be fished out and be punished.
Right. Thank you so much for calling.
Thank you. Let's go out for a break. The phone lines are still buzzing. We're coming back to you. There were other elections that happened this year.
Is it three of us, me, Wemimo,
and you
today?
Yes, we're back after this break to talk some more. You can also reach us on Twitter at Nigeria Info FM. Let me read one of the comments there. Emmanuel Hieme says the president wasn't civil at all. Ballot boxes exchanged for a life. It says everything is wrong with Nigeria. Well, some other people believe that yes, if you steal ballot boxes, you should be killed. But I don't think so. But let's come back from the break and talk. Nah. You can't kill someone for taking ballot boxes. You sue them. You take them to court. All right, let's go out for a break. We'll be back in a moment to take some more calls and comments. We're looking at 2019 in retrospect, and today we're focusing on the elections that we had in Nigeria this year. It's a fantastic conversation to join in after this short break. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I'm Sharif Quadry.
Join us again.
Christmas is here, bringing the cheer to.
It's another Christmas season. I am Wemimo Adewuni.
I am Sheriff Quadry.
And we are your favorite Morning Crossfire team. We are wishing you fun. Enjoy this season.
Spread the love and joy to everyone.
And don't forget to join us 6 to 9 a.m. every weekday on the Morning Crossfire.
Merry Christmas!
Trumpet bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away.
From your #1 talk news and sports station. This is the Morning Crossfire with Wemimo and Sheriff.
2019 is not over yet, and
No,
we're
it's not.
reminding you of everything that happened this year.
In case you forgot.
All the important highlights of 2019 in the political space in Nigeria. That's what we're bringing to you for the next 2 weeks until the year is over. And today we're looking at the important highlights of the elections in Nigeria. We've started by looking at the general elections, all the intrigues, all the things that happened until the declaration.
Before, during, after.
If you missed that declaration of the winner that happened February this year, again, listen to this.
Muhammadu Buhari of the All Progressives Congress, having satisfied the requirements of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared winner and is returned elected. Thank you.
Returned elected President Muhammadu Buhari. Also this year, in mid-November, we covered the Kogi and Bayelsa elections. Like the elections earlier this year, violence was rife. At least 10 people were reported killed in election-related violence in both states. Remember, in Kogi, Natasha Akpoti, governorship candidate of the SDP, recounted how she was physically assaulted.
She was assaulted at a peace parley in the capital. That peace parley had in attendance the IGP of Nigeria in attendance, plus, of course, other dignitaries that were supposed to ensure that all political parties come together and sign a peace accord that things will go smoothly. But when Natasha got there, she was reportedly harassed. She was reportedly assaulted. Supporters, were assaulted. Herself was refused entry into the venue of that event. And it sparked conversation as regards the irony of having such an occurrence at a peace parley, and it was an indication of what was to happen on the election day proper, which didn't disappoint at all. It lived up to that fear of what people thought would happen, and that's exactly what happened in Bayelsa. A lot of reports from civil society organizations who cover that election will tell you that it was marred, by violence here and there, and of course irregularities.
Well, despite all of that, results were collated, and votes were collated, and the results were announced in Bayelsa State. Here was the announcement.
Leon David Pere Rimini of APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and returned elected.
I remember after this, we were arguing about, was it Leon or Lion?
Yeah.
Because his name is going to be in the news for so long. And I think we summarily agreed to safely stay with Leon. He's the governor of Bayelsa State. In Kogi State also, a governor was elected.
I, Professor Ibrahim Garba, hereby certify that I'm the returning officer of Kogi State governorship election. Having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Thank you so much. Bello Yahaya of A Party APC, having satisfied the requirements of the law, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. Thank you very much for your cooperation. Thank you so much.
Yeah, Bello returned in Kogi State. Remember before that election, when we were doing the pre-election coverage, there were reports that civil servants in Kogi State had not been paid for about 30 months before then.
Right.
It was really
And a lot of people were expecting more from the Kogi people. There were reports of voter apathy in the state, people being scared of their life based on the expectation of violence. Gunshots were heard, voter suppression were also seen very apparent in some polling stations in the state during that election. Also, a particular state governor who came to show support, for his colleague, was named Thug. Thugs have invaded the state. That's the way they put it. And they had a lots of fake police officers in police uniforms carrying arms were also recorded in that particular election. It was something else. The Kogi election. It was really something else. However, the Bayelsa election, that a lot of people expected fireworks. Actually fared better because we had our correspondent who monitored those events. Our correspondent Joshua Rogers and Soebio Ruwari monitored the election in Bayelsa, and from the report they gave us, it didn't live up to that expectation of violence that people expected in that election in Bayelsa State, according to what we gathered from our correspondents who monitored that event. It went relatively peaceful in Bayelsa compared to what happened in Kogi, that nobody even felt or thought that it could be that violent in Kogi State. It's just something that our electoral process entirely, we need to begin to look inward. And that's why I made the comment from the beginning that this election, this 2019 general and off-cycle elections must not happen in 2023. It must never happen in 2023. Let's get back to the phone lines. Hello, good morning to you. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Babaji.
Welcome.
Compliment of the city.
We wish you the same.
Yeah, 2019 election. My first shocker was the postponement in the middle of the night. I told someone something is about to happen. He said, why are you talking like that? I said, do you know people that traveled? They wanted to vote. And at the end of the day, when you postpone it, you didn't even say the next day. You give about 1 week or 2 weeks. I said there would be problem. And another shocker was the vote of Lagos State compared to Kano State. Because we were made to understand that the highest registered voters is Lagos, when we know that the highest population is Kano. But at the end of the day, Lagos gave the ruling party 580,000, while Kano gave the ruling party 1.4 million. I say, what happened? Does it mean people don't want to vote? Before you reel out what happened in Okota is solo. And what will happen in 2023, watch it.
Right.
With this act, if it is intentionally to muzzle some voters not to vote, it's going to affect certain people. Just watch out.
Right.
Because the way things are playing out, I don't know for now. Let's keep our finger crossed. Thank you.
Thank you, Babaji, for calling.
Thank you. We have Dr. Jide Emodi joining us on the show right now. He was here also with us during the coverage of the Kogi and Bayelsa election. We had a marathon then too. Dr. Emodi, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Wemimo.
So we're looking back at how that when you were here giving us analysis of those elections. I remember it was mad with violence also, but we had winners.
Well, it was expected. Kogi especially was expected because there was no other way they could make it.
But what didn't seem expected was that there were complaints coming from Kogi State that the salary hadn't been paid. Before the election, we had people calling in to say, well, the people of Kogi are not happy with the current governor, but he was re-elected.
Yeah.
Looks like what people say is different from what they do. Or
no, if you're street smart, you will understand that when Nasir El-Rufai went on his knees and begged on behalf of Yaya Bello. Meanwhile, the man was on his knees begging for somebody that was standing
beside him.
As an apologetic mind, I'll tell you that that was enough excuse to do the needful. And at the end of the day, to be justified by saying, the Kogi people, we are begged.
So they accepted the apology.
Yeah, and they bent over.
Remember the wife of the president also put in a word for him?
Yeah.
I think it was just pure lucky. Okay, if you miss out on the phone numbers and you want to join this conversation, let's give them to you all over again.
Call us on 01-277-0993, 01-277-1993, 01-277-2993, and 01-277-3993. This is Nigeria Info. We are listening.
Going to the phone lines now. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, I'm Sunday. I'm calling from Ikeja.
All right, welcome, Samuel. Can you speak louder a bit?
Yeah, Sunday.
Sunday. Good to have you on the show.
Yeah, thank you. Please, I just want to add to what people are discussing at the studio.
Yes, please go ahead.
I think we should say that since the inception of democracy in Nigeria, precisely, there has not been any credible election, if you ask me. I saw you were playing the winner and they take over and all that.
The announcement.
Yes, and you see, let us tell ourselves the truth. Election in this country has not been credible. And we believe that whoever plays, like you said the other time, they are smartness. And that is what they are doing. Because democracy, we know it. It's not by violence that takes the winner. It's a fair deal where people come together in an election and they vote the person they want to elect, and the majority takes the votes. That's democracy. But in Nigeria, we have never seen any outstanding election to declare, or other countries to take an example.
How can we change this story? How can we begin to trust the process?
Yes, until we go back to the drawing board. Until when we get things right. And how do we get it right? Number one, we should enlighten the people, educate them about election, tell them what they need to know. It's not by buying rice, buying biscuits, deceiving people, telling them that vote for me. Tell them what you want to do for them, and at the end of it, prove yourself as a leader.
Right.
But what we have today is rulers. We don't have leaders.
All right, then. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks
Interestingly, Dr. Amadi, when you have people who say maybe their favorite candidate didn't win, they believe the election wasn't credible, those whose candidate won would insist that their candidate won fair and square. So, I mean, we have two sides of a coin.
Yeah.
And we have an umpire, INEC, that insisted that the election was fair enough to have winners declared.
I wish INEC is an unbiased umpire. I really wish. But any person that is balanced will tell you that they are not. The truth being that what was it that you did as an election that will make you come out in the world press and say that you don't have a server? What are you hiding?
There goes the server issue.
What are you hiding? Secondly, Sunday just said that until somebody starts telling the people this is what I will say, they say it every day. That doesn't hold any water. At the end of the day, the powers that be do what they want to do. Let me tell you something. My conclusion about this whole thing, because the more I watch American elections and the elections around the world, I wonder whether democracy is what it's said to be. Government of the people, by the people, for the people. At the end of the day, my summation is that this is the government of the people, by the few powerfuls, and for the few powerfuls.
Wow.
That is
that topples everything that we knew.
Indeed.
About the definition of democracy.
Absolutely. Let's go to Facebook very quickly. Emeka Onelum on Facebook says, we're hoping for a time when our elections will be devoid of violence, a day when I don't have to leave my house to cast my votes. We have our BVN and NIN numbers. Can't we harmonize them and use it for e-voting? We need more strong-willed electoral reform. That's Emeka on Facebook.
Well
right.
said.
Going to the phone lines now. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning to you.
My name is Damilare from Victoria Island.
Welcome, Damilare.
Wemimo
yes,
and Sheriff, good morning.
Morning.
I actually want to comment about this last election. To be honest, it wasn't perfect.
Which of them? The general election or the
general
election?
Yeah,
okay.
General election.
Okay.
Because I've been trying to call from the first minute. Actually, the election was not perfect. But at the same time, we have to be very careful what we wish for. Please, are you Wemimo, to be specific? Are you familiar with the United States election or politics? Are you familiar with them?
Yes, sir.
Okay, please, are you aware that United States have been crying now since 2016 till now that Russia meddled with their election?
Right.
Yes.
And they are the best country in the whole world. If you agree with me. So what I'm trying to say,
arguably.
It depends on what you use.
Yeah, arguably.
Arguably? Okay, let's just assume, because of the whole world, they meddle with the affair of every country in the whole world. So I believe they are the best. But this is what I'm trying to say. If we say that, okay, we should go for electronic voting, it might not work. See, there are some people here that have millions, they have billions of naira to say. They can just employ one expert, you understand, to meddle with our election, to meddle with our server. Have you tried using USSD code for bank transfer alone? You will try to use bank transfer, and you will discover that the money you had already transferred for days had not been delivered.
When there's a problem, maybe with the network, and that rarely happens.
Happens.
But you would also agree that we've moved in terms of our use. You can look at our banking. Now you can do transfers, and your account can be totally safe. Once you protect it from your end.
Yeah, I agree with you. This is where I'm going at. The server this thing is going to, who is actually coordinating this thing?
INEC should be the one.
They should be the one, but we don't even trust them. Honestly, look at what this guest is even saying. You see, we need to be very careful what we wish for, because I do really support it. And at the same time, I want to talk about the comment of...
Damilare, I wish we could take more of your comments, but thank you so much.
Dr. Madi, skepticism around electronic voting.
Well, my concept of excuses is that they are monuments of nothingness. Excuses. They are the tools of the incompetent. They are monuments of nothingness, and all that use it don't amount to much, ever. We use e-banking. It's working. Wemimo, your money is safe.
It is.
My money is safe. Sheriff's money is safe. We transfer interbank and intrabank, and it's safe. We are using BVM. They've even told our children that they can't see JAMB unless they have the NIN. What are we doing with ourselves? Do we want to be shedding blood? Do you not know that electronic voting would discourage people that go snatching ballot boxes?
There'll be nothing to snatch.
Absolutely.
There'll be not. If you know that what you're snatching is meaningless, that the voting has been captured already
in real time.
And you know, something amazing happened during the South African election. You watch the mega screen display the figures
as the votes come in.
As the votes come in. What are we talking about?
Right.
Look at the UK election. I mean, in hours we knew who won.
Right.
I mean, let's tell ourselves the truth. Unless we want to move our country forward.
Would you say some people are benefiting from the current process
most certainly,
right now?
Most certainly. They put the electoral reform bill before Buhari.
4 times.
4 times over. He will wait for the 60 days to expire. 1 day to the thing. He will look for one word there and tell you that it's ambiguous. Then at the end of the day, after he's been indulged 4 times over, he now said, okay, I will sign it if it will not apply to my own election. I mean, what is that? The man would have gone down in history as the father of modern Nigeria.
But that he also said that it was too close to the election, and it could affect the plans that INEC had made for the election. But the 9th Senate has said that they are committed to pushing this electoral reform before 2023.
They give a date for February next year.
We are fingers crossed. We're here.
Right.
We're watching.
Right. We'll be right here.
I'm praying.
Indeed. Let's get to the phone lines. Hello. Good morning. Good morning to you, Nigeria Info.
Yeah. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning.
Wemimo.
Yes, sir. Good morning.
The way I look at what is happening in Nigeria, nature is going to take effect. Changes will come by itself, not by Nigerians, because we don't have the capacity. If you look at Nitel,
dangerous.
When they were carrying ladder, ran everywhere, disconnecting your phone, telling you something happened, and they did it themselves. Now, where are they? Where are the ladders?
But that didn't happen naturally. I mean, a decision was taken to privatize.
Yeah, no. It happened because Nigerians didn't do it.
Who did it?
Yeah, it came because they saw there's nothing they could do. That was why they allowed it. Obasanjo allowed it because nothing they couldn't do otherwise. And that's exactly what is going to happen in this election.
So you think we should just wait and, let everything play out? How does that work?
In the soon coming by and by.
Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah, am I on the Nigeria Info?
This is Nigeria Info. Yes, welcome.
Yeah. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
My name is Bikina Fwapa from Uwe.
You're welcome.
The Nigerian democracy, I think, is opposite what it ought to be. Democracy is said to be government of the people, for the people, and by the people. But in our own case, we took it off the people, we buy the people, and we force the people when they enter the government to do what they don't want to do, what they don't want you to do for them. I think that's the whole essence of what is happening, playing out in Nigerian democracy. And I pray that God will help us to be able to bring the real democracy into play in Nigeria.
Indeed.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, thank you for calling. Yusuf Akinwale on Twitter says the solution to having a better elections in Nigeria is to demonetize our politics. It is not attractive. If it's not attractive, few people will be interested. Yusuf, thank you for sending in there.
Well, Dr. Amadi, so there's the money part, but there's also the power part. So you think if we demonetize, let me use that word that is used, by making it less attractive, remove some of those allowances and benefits.
Who is going to do that?
That's a question.
That's a big question. That is a very big question.
The same people that got in there because of the money, they are the ones you're asking to change the rules so that they won't get the money anymore. I mean, I can't even imagine.
It's not going to work, right?
It's not. It's an oxymoron. It will never happen. It's like asking me to kill my son so that I will get money.
Or asking me to reduce my salary by myself.
Precisely.
That's never going to happen.
Precisely. Meanwhile, your mission, ab initio, was to go make that money.
Right.
And you had to kill, maim, and do everything to get there. And when you got there, somebody says, you need to change the thing and make it less attractive.
It's not going to work.
Let's
take this call. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Sheriff.
Yes.
Good morning.
Yes, I learned from your analysis that the president refused after 4 times Can you please tell us the reasons why the first 3 times, I may not support the last time, but the first 3 times, I think it was correct. And the National Assembly concurred with him on those issues that were raised. So let's allow public to understand clearly.
Okay, he's talking about the return. The president made some amendments. Yes, please.
Yeah. He doesn't have to wait for 60 days to observe a line. He has people there. And he never does those things by himself, by the way.
After all.
Yes.
So you think there was a lot of time wasted?
Yes. Those things can be spotted in a fortnight and sent back if he had the will to get it done. And they will quickly amend it. You don't have to wait for 60 days. Maybe on the 59th day, you now send it in back. And you did it 3 times, 4 times over. Come on here. Who is
waiting for the deadline?
Who is fooling who?
Right.
Let's face it.
Going to the phone lines again. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning.
Well, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I'm listening to your discussions.
You're welcome.
You see, this one you just discussed about this monetary aspect is actually the first thing I thought the president would do when he said he came to fight corruption. Because actually the kind of money going on in that area, in fact, is just too much. That's why people are struggling to keep people to enter. People that have entered will not want to go out, and it's very difficult to bring it down. Now, the point I want to raise this morning is that the last election, the one in Kogi State and the one in Bayelsa State, the first one that surprised me most, although they said it's possible that where there is no candidate, the party can win the election. I've never heard, but
when there is no candidate?
Yes, Bayelsa. When they were campaigning, there was no governorship candidate initially. And the party was campaigning. They were doing rally all over.
Right.
But there was no physical person that, okay, this is our governor. I didn't see. But at the end of the day, they said the party won the election.
Indeed.
Now,
remember they had
that's not very
it wasn't particularly like that.
They had a governorship candidate. It's just that there was a
contention,
and they were actually contesting the deputy, the qualification of the deputy governorship, and you don't disqualify the governorship candidate
because of that.
Yes, it's not right.
So it wasn't particularly like that. It was that within the party there were issues they were trying to resolve while the rallies were going on.
And PDP's fate in Bayelsa, by the way, was a self-afflicted injury.
So many people still believe.
So
but we must go now. Look at the phone line still blinking. We just reminded you of all the elections. We still have so many things that happened in 2019. Until the end of the year, we'll be bringing them back to you, reminding you of everything we did this year. Dr. Judy Modi, we thank you kindly for joining the show.
Thank you, Wemimo.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure.
Merry Christmas, Nigeria. We'll be here tomorrow, Christmas Day. I'm going to dress up. I told you in the morning.
You will.
My gele. Don't worry. You guys should make sure you watch us on
Make
Facebook.
it a red one.
Good idea. Good idea. We thank the team for assisting. Yvonne Okafor, Zainab Yakin, and Tosin Akinride. We're back tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with more. I'm Wemimo Adewuni.
And I am Sheriff Quadry.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas is here, bringing us here.
It's another Christmas season. I am Wemimo Adewuni.
I am Sheriff Quadry.
And we are your favorite morning